Hey there, everybody. It's Dave here from Vikings First and Skull, and it's Wednesday. And you know what that means. We're talking the NFC North on who will be king. No poem today. Sorry. Don't have a long one for you. But I do have this little speech. All right, fellas, before we dive into this glory NFC North chaos, let me just say one thing real quick. While the Bears are still begging for a dome, the Lions are quietly stacking guards like they're building a fortress. And the Vikings just dropped a draft bid that might actually matter. Yes, I know. Somewhere in Green Bay, the Packers are out there celebrating a new special teams coordinator and pretending their power ranking of 17 is right where we want to be. Bless their little cheese-filled hearts. Anyways, let's talk about the teams that actually have a pulse this offseason. Welcome to Who Will Be King? Let the battles begin. I want to say skull to all my friends and welcome to the crew from the NFC North. On the viewer's left, we have Pay from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Pay, how's everything in Chicago?
Can never be better, Dave. 108 days since the Packers last won a game.
As I wrote on the thumbnail, and the Packers still suck. Then we have Foster in the middle from Detroit, the Motor City. How are things in your neck of the woods there, Foster?
Pretty good. Mild weather in Detroit today. Almost time for opening day. And excited. Almost April, which signals the time for the draft. So we're getting excited around here. That's our thing, the draft.
Well, I guarantee all four teams of the NFC North are heavy into draft prep. We've been sitting there looking to see what pro days are our scouts going to, who of the scouting crew is going to it. You know, is it the GM? Is it, just the regional scout, whoever it is? We're sitting there going through mock drafts like crazy. Like, oh, who's going to fall in this range? Who's going to fall in that range? And, of course, the fans are like, oh, this guy sucks and this guy's great and got to take this guy and you got to trade here and go down and get this and get that. And, well, I'll see how it works out here in less than a month or 4 weeks from tomorrow. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk about, first off, with Pay, there was a new proposal that came out on 6 days ago about putting a dome over Soldier Field. Did you see that, Pay?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
Well, I mean, if you like AI art, if that's your thing, looks good. It's not Chicago. That's exactly what that is. It's a facsimile of it. Is what a computer thinks Chicago looks like, but that's definitely not the South Loop, and that's definitely not Millennium Park. But this idea, not a proposal, but this idea from a graphic artist. It caught wind at Fox 32, and it made its rounds because of one thing: it's cheaper. It's a cheaper alternative than moving the Bears to Arlington Heights. It's a cheaper alternative than the Bears crossing state lines. It's what costs in total. I think about the range I heard was about 700 million, as opposed to the few
5 billion.
billions, yeah, to go in the other two locations. Uh, the money checks out, but this whole idea was first floated by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot about 10 or so years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She had proposed putting a dome over Soldier Field. Yeah, just throw a roof on it. Just put a cap on the stadium. Yeah, that's not going to work.
What?
They didn't done enough, I guess. Well, if you're the type of person that likes classic architecture, they didn't done enough of destroying what used to be a landmark,
Well, they
and for
did
them
anyways.
to yeah, for them to do this for if this proposal was something more than just an artist's idea of what could happen with Soldier Field, if this was actually something that was floated in City Hall and got down to Springfield, and and the Bears in Lake Forest was into the idea as well, then it would cause some more construction on Lakeshore Drive, everybody's favorite. You will want from the renderings. It looked like they're adding another row of seats. In fact, the artist I was listening to it in the interview from the artist. They said they was adding. I forgot how many seats, but it was a significant number of seats would be added to this. So basically,
It
they're adding
is. It
another
will bring it
wall of
up from
seats.
62,000 to 72,000,
Yeah, that's
including
not an insignificant
1,800
number.
luxury suites and 8,700 general seats.
Not an insignificant number, but that is a very significant amount of construction.
Mm-hmm.
And Soldier Field is going on 100 years. You're going to continue putting a facelift on a property that is almost 100 years old. It's getting up there with Wrigley Field, and those of my Chicago neighbors up who live in the Wrigleyville area understand that that is not a quick project. That's a project that takes that took about half a decade. So to that point, I mean, to this whole thing, yeah, it's cute, but it's pie in the sky.
And for the folks that don't know, it's the Edward Peck Design Studio that proposed it. And I think it looks good. And I thought you guys ruined Soldier Field when you dropped the UFO in it on the last major build. And then where it lost, Soldier Field lost its historical status because of it. And that's relatively, it's not an old stadium per se.
The additions to
Where they put up all
well,
the stainless steel and the glass and all that and put it in.
that was '02.
Yeah. So we're only, 24 years into it. That's not that old.
No, not the latest. Well, that's not even the latest. What do you call that? Construction to the stadium, but that was the latest big renovation. That's not the
Mm-hmm.
latest renovation to the stadium, but that was the latest major renovation. So yeah, you're right. 24 years. Not, and we're thinking about stadium ages and all that stuff. So it's not that old. In fact, it's still on the young side. However, the teeth of the building, the nuts and the building itself, very old.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that brings us to, anyways, whether they accept it or not. What's the status of the stadium? What's holding it up right now?
There is no new movement. Indiana can do all the posturing and political expedients they like to do, but that is not how business is done. There is everything is still being discussed down in Springfield. There's been no movement on this since in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They did just come back in session, so they are. It is it is it is on the table. There are talks being had. Whether or not a final deal is made anytime soon, your guess is as good as mine.
Hmm. Okay. I heard they don't have enough votes. They need 60
To
to
votes
pass
to do
House
what?
Bill, whatever it is, 210 or whatever it is, to approve the funding and the tax relief and all the other stuff that's in that bill.
No, that that latest bill that was proposed some time ago, that didn't have enough votes to pass because they're still hemming out exactly what you said, that tax certainty. And that's
House
exactly
Bill
where
910 is the number.
okay, 910. That is where all of this is held up at, is they want to know the Bears want to know how much money they can keep in their pocket, and the state wants to know how much money they can extract from the Bears because they're business partners. You want to make sure that everybody's getting paid here. The populace needs their schools paid for, and they would like the Bears to do it. And some of the lawmakers would like their pockets lined and their campaigns paid for. So we gotta figure this out.
Well, it looks like Pritzker, governor of Illinois, wants to run for president here in a couple of years. Will he make it happen by
Perhaps.
then?
I don't know. The next presidential election's in
28.
2028.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably want to make that declaration by late 2026. Oh yeah, the
Okay.
Bears will probably already have the Bears will probably have the shovels in the ground by then.
So you have hope. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still betting on Indiana to win.
Yeah.
Become the Hammond Huggables.
Hammond.
Yeah, that's it. Now, speaking of bids, the Minnesota Vikings announced this morning they have put in a bid for the 2028 NFL Draft to be held in Minnesota, focusing around U.S. Bank Stadium, but also with events out at Mall of America and Minnesota Lakes area and Eagan, our headquarters, and different spots around town. We'll see if we get it. It's going to be interesting to see if indeed it happens. I don't know if it will. And there you have the whole, well, who's going to invest in it? They've already determined that most of it's going to be privately paid. They've already got donors besides the Wilfs, the owners. And we'll see. But as like in Chicago, politics will play a key role in it. So, who knows? Now, this year's obviously the draft's in Pittsburgh. 2027, it's in D.C. And we'll see how that goes. So, like I said,
Yeah,
politics plays a part in all of it.
as you know, Dave. Money makes the world turn. So politics is just the middleman. You have the money makers and the money holders on this side, and you have the money, the people that want to get the money. And politics is just in the middle.
Now, it did benefit Green Bay. They supposedly brought $104 million to the area. And it did benefit Detroit. They had supposedly brought $213 million to Detroit area. And Detroit did an excellent job, I thought.
Cash.
So, yeah. So it's a big deal. Will they get it? We'll find out. It all depends. I'll bet we'll get HBO's Hard Knocks before we get the draft.
It's not a small thing.
I'm hoping for Hard Knocks this season with our quarterback issues.
Right.
Minnesota will be ripe for it, and we've never been on it. So, anyways, next thing I wanted to talk about was the ref work stoppage that we're heading towards. Here at the end of May, the referees, unless they have an agreement with the NFL, will go on strike. And we'll be stuck with scab referees this season. It's happened before. The results were horrible. The high school refs and college refs that came up did a bad job. And we were all complaining about the NFL reps beforehand. So the question is, will it happen again? And what is the NFL doing to hopefully mitigate it? Now, I don't know if you've watched over the last couple of days some of the proposed rule changes to officiating. NFL New York, as in the head office, is the one that's going to be gaining the power. And they say, oh, it's just because we'll have replacement referees and we want to make sure they get it right. And the NFL Referees Association is saying, no, it's because you want to hold us to too high of a standard, and we don't want that. I'm curious how it's going to go. There's the safety angle on the players. Now, how could New York calling in a flag help that? And that's one of the proposed deals. Is New York takes a look at the film and says, nope, there was a personal foul there. Drop the flag after the fact when the referees didn't see it. And it's going to take a whole bunch more stuff and put it on New York. Foster, do you think it's a good idea?
I think that's going to slow down the game quite a bit to have them review every last call and provide more input from, essentially the machine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also gonna it also kind of makes the refs a little bit more obsolete because takes a lot more power off them, which could settle could settle that strike that they have going on. But I mean, safety first, right? So there's two sides to that deal.
Well, it'll be safety first until the players get pissed off. I guarantee that. But it's going to be interesting. Pay, have you got any thoughts on it?
As somebody who has been a proud union paying member for at least 17 years of my adult life, not even before my adult life. So I am always union first. Even the NFL officials, because those are a lot of those guys are white collar lawyers and all the such. They're still union brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always going to side with my union people. I believe in the proletariat. So Foster is right. If you allow the NFL to weasel into their area of work, it is going to create an argument where, well, we can pay you less since we're doing the work for you and we're doing it better than you. And that's not good for workers, for especially that's not good for them, obviously, but it has a trickle down effect. Shout out to Reagan. All of that all of that comes to every other union within the NFL sphere and sports as a whole, and probably even outside of sports. If you can muscle into any worker group and depress their pay based on advancements in, let's say, automation, or because that's exactly what this is. This is automation. If Foster, shout out to Detroit, Ford, auto plants, and all that stuff. Automation does what? It fractures unions. It takes jobs away. It depresses pay. All of those things. This is a big story for the off season. And Dave, you hinted at it. It wasn't that long ago. We've gone through this before. I think it was 2012, the
Could
last
be.
strike
Yeah.
it was, and it wasn't. We didn't get 2 weeks before there was a big controversy over a
Oh, yeah.
blown call. In fact, I believe it was a Packer Lion game. What was it? The Hail Mary, the end of the game with Aaron Rodgers threw that. I think those were scab refs.
Oh,
So I don't think there's any way to you imagine that this wouldn't have a deleterious effect in the game that we're expecting to happen in the next kickoff is 160 some odd days away.
Wow.
Let this let this bleed into the season, and there's no reason to assume that it will, because we are, like I said, it is a good amount of time away from now. But in the event that it does, we are talking about less a product that is not as pristine as we have been accustomed to seeing. Because refs, even though no one capes up for the refs, no one's buying ref jerseys unless you work at Foot Locker. No one likes the
Or it's
refs, but
Halloween or
we
something.
all
Yeah.
right. But we
Holidays.
all appreciate the refs when they're not there. And let's always keep that in mind when we're talking about guys who are on the picket line. We appreciate you even more when you're not there.
It's going to be interesting because I fully expect the NFLRA to go on strike. I do not see them not doing that because the whole NFL wanting to hold them to higher standards, I don't think it's going to fly. It's going to be able to rate them publicly. Joe Schmo referee sucked. In this game, he calls way too many bullshit calls and he misses blatant face masks, type things. So, but the rule changes that were proposed was a rule that regardless of whether there are replacement officials or not, it'll allow the referee to consult with the league staff member, i.e. New York, on whether a penalty act was flagrant and should result in disqualification. That's going to be interesting to see how they determine, well, that was flagrant. And it's the whole personal foul. Did one of the things I heard was, did he just roll into the kicker or did he hit the kicker? Yada, yada sort of stuff. Or flagrant as in, did he punch him? So, and a lot of times they'll miss it.
Mm.
Now, another rule is allowing teams to declare an onside kick at any time during the game, regardless of score. I'm cool with that. It doesn't have to wait till the last 2 minutes and you got to be trailing.
Mm.
You just got to declare.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, why it shouldn't be limited to the last 2 minutes? I mean, why?
Well, they didn't want the sneak one, like they come out of half and suddenly somebody goes blink.
Right.
But it's, I don't know. It's the onside kick is only what? Recovered by the kicking team 3% of the time, something absurdly low, but it gives hope. They're also looking to close a loophole that incentivizes teams to intentionally put kickoffs out of bounds when kicking from the 50-yard line because of penalty on the opponent. That applies to free kicks. People thinking, when do they kick from the 50? It's a free kick. And it'll cause them not to do that. They'll just blast it through the end zone instead. That's big whoop. A modification to kickoff alignments, alignment requirements on the receiving team. Now, this one I have not seen in detail. How they're going to line up the receiving team different than they are now. Because right now it's, 10 guys up here and 10 guys back here, or 9 guys, and they don't move until the ball's caught. And then you have the 2 guys in the back, generally, that can catch the ball and run with it. But I don't know what the plan is, but they're planning on modifying the receiving team's ability. We'll see how that goes. Another rule proposal is adjusting roster cut-down dates and procedures to account for international games in the first week of the season. I'm assuming that's because if we're going to play earlier, like on a Wednesday, and the first game of the season will be on a Wednesday this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's over in Australia, to adjust the cut down date, we'll see. And then, of course, there's the Browns who submitted their whining one. Can we please allow teams to trade up to 5 years in advance for drafts?
Yeah, because they don't have enough issues with their capology up over there in Cleveland. They gotta, we need more assets to where to trade off so we can, build this team because we got this one player on our team who's eating up a significant portion of our cap, and that's why we are cheeks.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think is going to happen in Miami over the next couple of years?
Oh,
Miami will set the record next year with the absolute largest dead cap money space. It's well over $100 million.
Shout out to Tua.
Just thinking about that is crazy. Everybody else is playing with a roster that's 250 M's, and you got to play with one that's 130, 140.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that should be illegal. Still got to roster everybody. Got to build a team.
Poor Malik Willis.
You talking about replacement refs? They gonna have replacement players.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finna get out there.
Get your resume ready.
I'll tell you league minimum. Come on. That's what they passing out. They passing out league minimum. Say anybody, you want some? You want some? I take it.
Yeah. 1.3 mil for a veteran, a vested vet. Yeah, by all means. All right. This was an interesting discussion. We're going to take a break real quick, and they're going to come back and discuss the controversy in Detroit after this.
Whoa, Dave. Whoa, what? I'm going to do it to you now. There was I know you did a lot of talking about the new kickoff rules and everything, and I still haven't even fully figured out the old kickoff rules. But tush push, that was also on the table. It was supposed to be banned. Everybody they had all but one vote last year. They decided to not even bring it to the table this year. So tush push is here to stay.
Mm-hmm. Or in the case of the Vikings, quarterback throw over because we have such a little quarterback. All right. Now go grab your Garrett's popcorn and we'll be right back. And we're back, everybody. Appreciate you sticking with us. And appreciate you listening to our sponsors when you're listening to the show on podcast because they help pay the bills and keep me in whiskey at least. And pay and Good Chicago Pizza and Foster and his Detroit style pizza. But it is what it is. All right, Foster. Now the table's all yours. Tell us about this controversy that's brewed this week because of a podcast in Detroit.
Yeah, so there's been rumors that there's been some discourse between Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes about the free agency situation. And Brad Holmes has come out and vehemently denied those reports, saying that him and Dan Campbell are still lock in step as far as the future plans. He has said that obviously taking a step back and being 9-8 and not making the playoffs was definitely, they were taken aback by that. So the intensity has definitely heightened. But they're still in line and have an understanding of where they want it to go. He said that, we are not done with, free agency, and their eyes are still open to up until the draft and beyond the draft. He said that there's some veteran players out there that they are, keeping an eye on. And, there's been a lot of reports, most notably Cam Jordan, who is a, highly productive, lifelong New Orleans Saints guy that in my mind, that's who they may have their eyes on. So yeah, I think that Brad Holmes, personally, I think that he's done a pretty good job of addressing our biggest needs, which has been to add depth to our cornerback room as well as the offensive line room as well. We went out and got Larry Borum, Cade Mays. Today, we actually went out and got another guard in Ben Borch, who has been pretty much he's mostly been a backup guard in San Francisco, but he has had a pretty good PFF score last year. So a lot of guys, as well as Juice Scruggs, he was a part of the David Montgomery deal. So I think it sets us up to be aggressive in the NFL draft, and to address with some pretty highly productive players. We got 9 picks this year, and Brad Holmes tends to be more conservative and look for value in free agency, but he has in years past been aggressive and trading up in the draft. We got 9 picks, including several 4th, 5th, and 6th round draft picks. So I look for him to be aggressive and to trade up. Just in last year's draft, we traded up for Isaac Tesla and Tate Ratledge. So he's got a good resume as far as that's concerned, and I think that he will continue that, and it'll give him, especially with the Larry Borum signing, that gives us some flexibility. We can move over Penei Sewell over to that blind side role at left tackle, and we can draft high for that right tackle role. And of course, going out and getting a highly productive edge rusher is going to be important as well. So I think that the plan is, going as Brad Holmes would like. And, I think that you can't totally discount that there may, when you start hearing rumors, you can't totally discount it as being, just made up. Something that you got to keep your eye on. But they've done a good job of smoothing over the rumors for the time being. So something to keep an eye on, though.
So you're telling me, well, you're going with Stephon Diggs' old saying, there's truth to all rumors.
We've learned in recent history with the David Montgomery thing that, just because, somebody comes out and addresses it and denies it, you always have to take that into consideration, that there might be some smoke to it.
Interesting. Now for Green.
I think one thing that people have kind of looked, that have looked over as far as the Lions offseason is how we've addressed the explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball as well. We went out and got Greg Dortch, who's a shifty, slot receiver, which is going to cover our special teams duties, as well as the absence of Khalif Raymond. And in addition to that, we also went out and get Isaac Pacheco, another guy that has proven to be pretty explosive. So, more weapons for Jared Goff, and more weapons. No more knuckles, but we got what do they call him? Shadow.
Mm-hmm. Now, Purple Tears since 61 said, "Where's our Packerbacker? Our Packerbacker got fired a couple 2-3 years ago, and there's been nobody with the cojones to step up and take his place. We've tried to interview a few; they just won't come. I don't know why. We'll be nice to them. We don't bite." Well, maybe a little, but speaking of the Packers, the news and rumors out of there is they're celebrating like I said in the pre-show, their signing of a special teams coach. Yay! Now, special teams is important. I got that. It's important to have a good special teams coach. You need to get your kicker and your long snapper and your punter and the coverage teams all working great. That's fine.
I liked how they worked last season.
Okay.
One of our comebacks had a lot to do with their inability to cover. So that inside baseball. But go on.
Well, I know one of them against us at the end of the game. You guys had a 50-some-odd yard kick return. Put you in position to win the game, which you did. Anyways, not that I'm sore about that. But our special teams coach did not get fired. Everybody expected him to, but he did not. So, they've been working on getting, prepping for the draft, all that sort of stuff, just like everybody else has. There's not a whole lot of news out of Green Bay, which is normal. They're normally quiet in free agent season, and they've basically been so far this year. Don't expect much. Now, they were all happy there was a ESPN power ranking, or I believe it was ESPN, had the Packers sitting at number 17, 8th in the NFC. It was Sports Illustrated, pardon me, not ESPN. And I thought, okay, consensus ranking has them as 8th. I don't see them that high, or 8th in the NFC. I think our division is top to bottom the best in the NFC, but I can't see the Packers being 8th. Really? They're just one hurt Jordan Love away from being at the basement. He doesn't even have to be hurt. He just got to play bad.
8th in the conference. I think that's fair. Fringe playoff team, which they've been for the last 4 seasons. They've been a 7th seed. So
Right.
I mean, if you told me they were 8th ranked, I'm like, all right, that sounds about fair. That sounds about right. That's
Right.
that's their MO.
Out of 16 teams, halfway. Yeah. That's going to be interesting. They're already doing mock drafts like crazy. Now, the big thing out of Green Bay is they're talking about trading for Anthony Richardson. How great a fit it would be.
I love that for them.
Hey, I can
Work
see
for
it.
Malik Willis. They
To Anthony Richardson.
turned him around.
Yeah.
Look at Foster being the voice of reason. You're right, Foster. From a football perspective, a clear football perspective, the backup quarterback in Green Bay, the former one, Malik Willis, he came in and they had a special package for him. They had an RPO package for him, and he ran that very, very successful, and it got him paid this offseason. If nothing else, Anthony Richardson can run a similar package and can possibly fix his career and fool the team into giving him some money down the line. I mean, I don't hate it, but if you ask him to pass the ball, I like where that's going to lead.
Mm-hmm. Now, also in Green Bay, their ticket holders have been grousing with the team itself. The team came out, I saw a couple weeks ago, and said, "Do not resell your tickets." And that frustrated a bunch of fans, which I'm sure it'll just like in Minnesota. They'll buy a season ticket package and then make it up on a few games by selling a few games, the premier games to the opposing team, and they'll make their money back. And I quasi understand that, but when those few games are against division opponents, or at least Minnesota and Chicago, you want all your home guys there, just like Minnesota fans want to be there. I'm sure Bear fans want to be up in Wisconsin when they play up there. Well, it's to represent pay. But
Let me make sure I heard this right. Green Bay, the team, is trying to coax their season ticket holders, their historically long line of season ticket holders, to not sell tickets.
correct.
I hate that. Because everyone knows, maybe not everyone, but these teams don't even, you know how they say that the waiting list for season tickets is X amount of years long, and
Hmm.
it takes forever to get on that list. You know why it's that long? Not because people aren't dying. It's because majority of the people who have season tickets, uh, they're sold it to a company. They sold it to a private equity. That's why. And they get this. They don't mind them people turning around and selling those tickets. That's where all those tickets come from when you go on the second market. That's the companies are selling those tickets. They're reselling tickets that they bought from the Green Bay Packers. So I can't even get face value tickets. And and it from the team, from anybody. It's just a whole grift. And now if somebody in Wisconsin actually had season tickets. Here comes Green Bay telling me like, hey, don't sell those. Don't sell those. Why? Because you don't get a percentage of it. Get out of my face.
But we have the same problem. And like I said, they're Minnesota Vikings fans, but they can only afford so much. They go heavy on getting the season tickets, and then they make it up by selling them. And they're fans that sell them. People I know. Hey, I can't make it Sunday. You want to take my tickets? Sort of deal. At face value. But we'll see. I think it's funny. Now, the fans are also bitching that there's not going to be any seat replacements of the benches. They want real seats instead of aluminum benches. And Green Bay said, no, we're keeping the aluminum bleachers. If we replaced it with plastic seats, it would result 10,000 fewer seats. The reasoning they're keeping them. Now, I've sat on aluminum bleachers. And in the wintertime, there was a game at Foxborough. I was watching the Patriots play. It's the final game of the season, and if they win, they're in. And there was ice on those seats, and it was cold. Now, the fans around us were having a blast. We were all having a blast. It was no biggie, but it was cold, and those aluminum seats, they drain the heat from you. But that's the way Green Bay wants to play. They're going to play that way. And why would they put in plastic seats and lose 10,000 ticket holders? They're not going to.
Squeeze in there.
Mm-hmm. Bring your little cushion thing, and that's it.
They can make up the difference by selling those. You replace those aluminum stands, those relics of the past. You bring in the plastic, the plastic chairs, and then you sell them. You sell those PSLs, those personal seat licenses. You're not losing money. You're actually making more money doing it. It's just less people.
Mm-hmm. But, so everything is not rosy in Green Bay. As we all know, they still suck.
108 days.
Mm-hmm.
And count.
Now, Vikings news. We've already discussed the bid for the 2028 draft. We'll see how that goes. We've been relatively quiet, just been preparing for the draft, tracking mock drafts. We still have only one guy that's dominating the mock drafts, Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon. We'll see how that goes. He's not my particular favorite at that spot, but hey, if we get him, I'm okay with it. There's the QB issue. We signed, as everybody knows, the diminutive one, Kyler Murray. He's going to be QB1, most likely, even though there's a competition. Then you have J.J. McCarthy, and we signed Carson Wentz back. I'm assuming Carson Wentz will be QB3. He's still in recovery from his shoulder surgery, and he will be for a couple more months, and we'll see how that goes. There's the whole rumor, well, if you got Wentz back, why do you need McCarthy? Trade J.J. McCarthy. We'll see how that goes. I doubt they will. I still believe, for the majority, they believe in him. We'll find out. He's been out in California with John Beck, the quarterback coach guru. He just returned yesterday or day before back to Minnesota. Let's see if he's improved on his technique rather than arm.
Do he need?
Arm strength thrower to whole torque the lower body and let it whip thing. But we'll find out. Robert Griffin III, former NFL quarterback, said trade him. You guys have already basically demoted him, trade him. Let him get a fresh start. There's no market for him right now that would be willing, would be roughly equivalent. Now, Big suggested trading JJ for Anthony Richardson. That's closest I would get. But I bet if they do trade, they'll wait till somebody doesn't get who they want in the draft and raise his price a bit. But I doubt they're going to trade him. I think they're going to keep him there because Kyler Murray has injury histories too.
He should know the offense.
Well, yeah.
I'm talking about JJ.
Yeah, JJ should. Kyler Murray's got to learn it.
Right.
And if he can't make the whole season, you want somebody that can step in.
Might I make an argument for Mr. JJ?
Go ahead.
Help me out here, Vikings fans. So, Foster, if Stafford goes down, where's your season?
You talking about golf?
I'm sorry, yeah. If you lose golf, and let's say week 2, what happens to your season?
Oh, we got Teddy Two Gloves. We good to go.
You're not going far. Same thing with Jordan. Same thing with Jordan Love, and especially same thing with Caleb Williams. Dave, if something happens to Kyler, I have the most confidence in your quarterback 2 than anybody else's quarterback 2 in this division.
Mm-hmm.
JJ can at least keep that team treading water more than anybody else. Because the rest of us, we lose our starting quarterback, we're looking at the draft immediately.
Mm-hmm. I agree. He had a winning record. Not that QB wins is a real thing till you get to the end of your career, but he had a winning record, and he was improving the last 4 games. He was damn good for the most part. A lot of keys.
Winning record. Okay. He beat the Lions, what, twice?
Twice.
He was quarterback.
Almost beat the Bears twice.
Mm. Wow. Things are looking up. Hey.
If it wasn't for that stupid kick return at the end, we were leading.
The Vikings almost did sweep the Bears. I will say that. JJ almost allowed the Bears to beat them twice, too.
Well, that too, but
subjective. All these, it's how you look at it.
That's why I'm hoping.
You're right, Foster.
You get John Beck, fixes his technique, make sure he's got touch, and he's hitting his receivers like he's supposed to. I think he could be the guy. I still believe in J.J. McCarthy. I'm one of the few.
But does Justin Jefferson believe in him?
I think so.
He would need to, because any conversation of trading him for AR5, let's not even give him that. Let's not give him a nickname. Let's not give Anthony Richardson a nickname. Let's call him Anthony Richardson. Trading Tony Rich. Trading for Tony Rich, it is an immediate L. I'm just going to say that right there. It is immediate, and it's going to be a profound one, especially if you lose Kyler. Now, at that point, you have to bank on Kyler. You have to re-sign him once you do bank on Kyler. At least with JJ, you have more options. Mm-hmm. You have, let's give him a little bit more seasoning. Let's give him some tutelage and, figure some things out. You said he's working with another guru, right? So, I mean, two gurus are better than one. So, I mean, he has nowhere else to go but up.
Right. Well, he can't work with Kevin O'Connell during the
KOC,
offseason because of the
not right now. I
CBA.
mean,
So he's got to pick somebody.
he had 2 off seasons to work with KOC. So I mean, I think he's got a lot of guru on him. So false, but that was crazy. But yeah, I just think if there's any way for that situation for your quarterback situation to become, pliable, it would be through the path of JJ McCarthy becoming serviceable. He ain't got to return a first round grade at this point. If he just becomes a guy that you have confidence in putting out there week in and week out, you're good. You're not getting that out of Anthony Richardson. And Kyler Murray, he's not supposed to be a long term fix. And if he is, we already talked about this, Dave. If he's a long term fix, you guys are, well, not you guys, but KOC, his job becomes a lot more expendable.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. But we'll see. We still have, what, like you said, 180 days or whatever it is to football. We still got the draft to go 4 weeks from tomorrow. And we have training camps. Let's see how it works. Let's see how Kyler Murray looks in purple. And by looks, I mean, how does he run around? How does he adapt to KOC's offense?
The Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Grandpa Joe was a bum.
Grandpa Joe?
He said Oompa Loompa. So, I mean, I went down
Gotcha. Well, gentlemen, have you got anything more to say? Foster, you got any last words from Detroit?
Draft coverage. I promise you will get a profile this week, several this week. For real this time.
Even with opening day, huh? You guys are tough.
Got to get it in there.
I know how you feel. I've been late on Skull Searchers. Pay, any last words for you?
So it turns out flag football players are legit.
Mm-hmm.
So NFL, mind your own business when it comes to the Olympics. Stay in your
It's
lane.
a different game.
Yeah, totally different.
And
Joe Burrow almost got hurt. I was go sit down. Like,
oh, it's a different game. But yes, and that there's a bunch of owners going, oh no. I'll give you my QB3, who's a young guy developing, but you're not getting a star. No, he makes too much money.
Nah. And Saquon, bro, you look elusive and like a physical specimen beast when you're playing on the football field with pads and other guys who are inhuman size. But when you're on the field and wearing a flag skirt and playing with guys who are 5'9", you're not that fast, not that quick anymore, are you? No, no. Leave it to the professionals.
Uh-huh. Foster, where can they find you and what's coming up next?
Bleachers to Speakers for all Detroit sports coverage, Tigers, Lions, Pistons. As I said, draft coverage on the way for real this time. And stay tuned.
Pay, where can they find you and your crew and what's coming up next on Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel?
As stated, opening day is tomorrow. So Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, available anywhere you get your podcast and on YouTube. We've got those season primers. We've got what overs and unders coming up. You got things to look out for and win-loss projections for the Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs and the respective central divisions. So don't miss out on that before you get opening pictures tomorrow. Both episodes will be dropping today and tomorrow.
Gotcha. And those that are watching already can find Vikings First and Skull, and you can also find us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Tomorrow we have the Real Forno Show, and then Sunday we will have two old bloggers once again, and we might fit a thing or two in between. So join us if you love talking purple and football as a whole. What do we say in Detroit there, Foster? Oops, let me turn up the volume. Hey, what do they say in Chicago?
Bear down.
The Bears.
And of course, in Minnesota, we say Skol Vikings. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a frustrated Chicago sports fans, Bleachers to Speakers, Vikings First and Skull, and of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.